Yeah. Wake up with coffee and sports. Sunrise glow, listen coast to coast. A flow like you know.
Offensively, who made them? Oh, Patrick Mahomes.
Sideline to sideline with plays to show. This network's got the spark.
When you put up 300 yards rushing against someone, that you got your butt whooped.
I feel like I would have liked to see Oregon, Ohio State in the semis, not the quarters. So I think some reseeding is probably where I would change. But
they're out of their mind. They're going to do this 3 quarterbacks in a row.
Here's the crazy.
I just can't take it.
Birds keep flying high, fans cheering loud, and one podcast moving through the crowd. Needy boys brawling, no holds barred bout. This wire life never in doubt. Tune into the vibe.
That's my bold prediction for the show. Devin Booker, in the next 3 years, he will be a Houston Rocket.
Because I still think Seth is still at the top of his game. I do. I think he's right there. Who knows? Maybe. Not this year, but one time soon. Why wouldn't we potentially see Seth and Roman?
Tune in the vibe. Party Reds, good setters. Got me on the mic now, let's spill the tea. Talking courtside dreams from history. Legends on the blacktop now and then. From Will to Steph, we hit it again. Better chimes in, let's go deep. Young blood's rising, can't skip a beat. Puppy prospects with fire in their eyes. Draft night suckers and hoop dream highs. Wire to wire, bring the heat. Podcast magic can't be beat. Do better, but roll better. Or who cares? Trendsetters.
What's poppin', y'all? It is your boy, Guard E3. And I figure, the NBA's back, so we might as well have a little fun and do a watch-along. Like I said, we're just going to be chilling today, watching some hoops if you want to talk hoops, or if you have any questions about anything else. I'm really down to answer anything. All right, so here we go. Say Cade's going to take a difficult off-balance jumper. So here comes the Knicks. This should be a game that the Knicks win. Oh, gee, shoot it. Hit it. Bam. Oh, yeah, I think you overthought that one a little too much. Say, this is a game that I think the Knicks should absolutely win. This is a game where the Pistons are out Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren due to suspensions from, fighting right before the All-Star break. Absolutely. Gotta love a good old-fashioned throwdown, though, so I can't even be mad at that. But they need an aggressive cat to take advantage of this undersized front court. Oh, here we go. Stepped on the line, out of bounds. Got a little 3-0. Like I said, what's going on, y'all? Like I said, I'm Guardy 3. We're going to have a little fun. We're just going to talk and watch some hoops. As we got a little Fontecchio drive and kick. Tobias Harris, 3. That's hard. Yeah, this is a really small lineup. Ooh. So here we go. Josh Hart's going to try to barrel his way to the basket. Good block. Let's see. I thought Duncan was about to hit that anyway. Ooh. Hart throws it down. 5-0. Ooh, all right. Knicks up to a nice little start here. Good take by B-Ball Paul. So here we go. We got a little, the Knicks off to a great start, 5-2. Oh, G's going to let another one rip, and that's off. So here we go. We got a sewer against Jalen Brunson. He's picked up his dribble. He's looking for somebody to get rid of this ball. Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh. E-ball Paul with a little behind the back. Oh, hit that. Oh, Oh, B-ball Paul tried. He went behind the back and tried to pull up on Cat. Got a good look. He just didn't get it to go. That was terrific. So here we go. Oh, Brunson's going to reject the screen. He's going to get to that little mid-range. Off, but he is fouled. So Brunson is going to go to the line for 2. So we got Jalen Brunson to the line for 2. Say the first one is up and good. Say so now we are going to the line for a second one. Like I said, if you're just tuning in, thank you. Even if you're just passing by, I hope you have a great day. Like I said, we're just here to talk some Pistons, Knicks, news around the NBA, or like I said, mainly an NBA show. But if you want to ask about anything, I'm chill with it. So here we go. We're gonna have All right. Okay, just trying to get downhill. Little 15-footer, no good. Tobias Harris is fouled, fighting for a rebound. Okay. As we just got news, Steph Curry will be reevaluated in 10 days due to his persistent right knee injury. So it looks like in news around the NBA, Steph Curry will be out of action for a little bit as Cade misses a pull-up 3. Jalen Brunson's going to get downhill, cut through a wide-open corner 3 from Mikal Bridges is money. So we're going to get a timeout here from Detroit. Oh, it stows on the line, I think. That's a 2. That's the Kevin Garnett 3 right there. Let's say I'm glad the NBA's back. It's great to see it. We got no shortage of topics. We got the KD files. We got KD burner account stuff, which by the way, I really don't think that's Kevin Durant. I genuinely do not. Like, I get KD has a history with burners, but I don't think the latest batch of KD stuff was KD. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he proves me wrong, but I don't think that was Durant. So here we go. I'm looking forward to seeing what the second half of the season brings us. It will definitely be interesting. We already have news today. The NBA is trying to take anti-tanking measures, which I'm not sure how to feel. Look, I think that if you can find a good way to curb tanking, that would be a good thing. It really would be. But that being said, some of the ways they're like trying to incentivize not tanking are just weird to me. Like, okay, say they're talking about lottery odds based on 2-year records, right? Like, that might change a little bit, but like the bad teams are normally bad for multiple years. So I think like I said, that might help a little bit, but I don't think it helps that much. And then there's the idea of freezing the lottery odds at the trade deadline or a later date. That's risky. Look, I'm down for them to try something, but the lottery odds freezing at like the trade deadline to me, it's just a super risky proposition because if you're a team that's going to tank, all that's going to really cause is them to start tanking sooner. Like, it's one of those things where if a team wants to tank, they're gonna find a way. So I am interested to see what they do to try to stop tanking. I'm not saying they shouldn't try to stop tanking, but also I think too many like people and teams really just kind of twist the idea of tanking in a poorly run franchise. Like some of these teams aren't tanking. Some of these teams are just poorly run and terrible. So it's interesting, but yeah, I do think that if you want to address the tanking odds, that's fine. I'll be interested to see how they do it. But I don't want to see a situation where instead of curbing tanking, we just end up having teams like just tanking sooner if we're gonna like, for example, freeze it at the deadline. Oh, a little ooh. Say Detroit cannot get anything to go down right now. Wow, they're getting some good looks too. There's nothing's falling. Like Tobias just had a good look at the basket, like a little 10-foot jumper, and that didn't go. Here we go. Tobias gonna kick it back out to Cade. Gonna set a screen. They're trying to get Cade onto Cade, which they successfully do. Cade's gonna step it back, pull it, and it's good. Maybe that's what it takes. Get the lid off the basket. So we got a 9-5 game now. So let's see how you answer. How do you answer New York? You have Josh Hart set a ball screen for Jalen Brunson. Flip it to Cat. Gonna flip it to Bridges. He's gonna take Duncan Robinson off the dribble. Kicks it up to Brunson. Kicks it to a cutting Josh Hart, and it is. He couldn't handle the pass. It is out of bounds. So here we are, 9-5, 7:50 in the first. Who's that out on? Oh, yeah, no, that's out on Duncan. Yeah, I hit him in the foot. Okay, here we go. Oh, risky pass right there. A Sewer almost picked that, but it worked out. It worked out for him as I got an easy layup. Have some shame against Detroit. This is like I said, to me, this is a game that the New York Knicks should win. With Detroit pretty much being out, with them being out Duran and Stewart, they're just missing a lot of big bodies down low. So it will be a good game, though. I think it's still going to be a close one. By the way, thanks for the comments, sir. I definitely appreciate it. Shout out to Steve Dallas Cowboys. Cade's gonna up and in. So 11-8, Detroit. Right here comes Cat. Little pick and probably pop action. No, kind of a half roll. OG Anunoby's going to try to take this downhill, and he gets to the rim and scores. That was nice little move. Got in the lane, spin move, clean look at the basket, and converts. Cade's going to just pull it. Say OG with a stop. Ooh. So here we go. Karl Anthony Towns ball at the they're going to give it back to OG down low. Almost. Okay. Karl Anthony Towns going to pull one. He's going to try to fall for a call. It doesn't go, and he doesn't get the call. So here comes the Sewer Thompson. Ooh! What a pass! Good finish by Cade over Cat. Thompson with a great cross and a nice pass to Cade with a nice finish over Karl Anthony Towns. Brunson with a clean look, and that's off. So a 3-point game that say this. So, and Tobias Harris is going to go to the line. Pistons have finally got the lid to come off the basket. They started out really rough. What a pass. It split them. Good. That's like a nice little spin in the lane and finish by OG Anunoby. All right, here we go, Tobias. First shot is up and good. do think the idea of teams can't pick top for the year after making the conference finals is interesting. That definitely is an interesting idea. And let's see, and Tobias Harris' second one is up, and it's good. So here we go, 1 point game. Here comes Brunson. He's going to get a screen from Mitchell Robinson, who's checked in for Karl Anthony Towns. And he tried to finish in a crowd, but it couldn't get it to go. So here comes Cade. He's trying to keep Mitchell Robinson in jail on his back hip. And he gets to the rim and misses the lay. So here comes Shamet, going to kick it down to Josh Hart, who's going to take it up and put it in. So back to a 3-point lead for the New York Knicks. Here comes the Seward Thompson. He's got Jalen Brunson on him. We're going to get a pin down for Cade, you're going to skip it to the corner for Tobias. Got Josh Hart on him. He's got a little size advantage, and he gets it to go. Count it. And the foul. Tobias Harris is going to go to the line to try to tie this game up. Just embraces the contact and flips it up and in right over Tobias. Ooh, Sham. Yeah. That was a good finish by Josh Hart. I like that replay. That's good. So here we go. Brunson, another Brunson Hart pick and roll. They're going to swing it over to Dwara. So you got Shamet. Going to kick it down to Mitchell Robinson. Good corner. One more. Jalen Brunson's going to pull over a light contest. Misses. Good close. I'll give some credit there. That's a good close out by Duncan. Cade hits it. Cade Cunningham puts the Pistons up 2. Josh Hart, flip it to Mitchell Robinson. Say a little 2-man game between Robinson and Dwara. Oh, Dwara with a nice pass to Shaman, who hits it. By the way, I apologize if I'm saying his name wrong. I don't really know my best. B-ball Paul blocking. B-ball Paul and 1. Jalen Brunson, I think it was Brunson, tried to get underneath and take the charge. And B-ball Paul just embraces the contact and flips it up and in. So here we go. B-ball Paul to the line to try to make this a 5-point game. The Knicks are, I think they're still upset about that missed travel. Here we go. We're going to get a nice little pin down for Brunson, who's going to flip it up and in. So here we go. Cade having a great quarter. As Cade has the ball in his hands again, he's going to flip it to the corner. And Seward's going to try to get inside, kicks it to the corner. Jenkins swings it one more, wide open. Cade 3 is good. Cade Cunningham, 14 in the quarter. He is on an absolute heater right now. Oh. By the way, shout out to Dennis Jenkins, man. He's been having a great year for him. It's my underrated player of the week last week. And Mitchell Robinson, just too big, throws it down. Hey, what's going on, Reed? Yeah, absolutely. I figured the NBA's back. Let's do it. They call a moving screen on Jenkins. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He did not stop. If I were them, I would look for Mitchell Robinson more inside. They don't have the size to match up inside right now. Josh Hart kicks it out. Here we go. Shamet's going to pull from 15. He missed, but he was fouled. Pistons are a better team without Isaiah Stewart. I think Isaiah Stewart's such an interesting player. He's a solid like depth bench big. Honestly, though, as no niche or talent guy, not an NBA player. Look, I need Isaiah Stewart on an NBA roster. I at the end of the day, it almost fits that he's on the Pistons. Like, there's nobody ready to throw hands quicker than Isaiah Stewart. So that's always fun. He's such a fun player to watch when he gets upset. You know what's funny though? Like, there's a version of Isaiah Stewart that I really liked, but that was 23 Isaiah Stewart where he's shooting 38% from three. The idea of Isaiah Stewart, like the floor spacer, is a great one. But no, step back, Cade. Yeah, no, he'll battle. He does his best, but yeah, like he's an oddball in the sense that we've seen him be like a quality NBA player before. But no, I think he's just a fine backup. He's a fake tough guy, Guardy. Hey, you know what? Oh, went for the lob, but missed. Two-man game now. Alvarado takes it up, and it's in. Hey, might be, but there's not many guys who crash out like he does, so. No, like I said, I think Isaiah Stewart's just like a fine, like backup quality player. I don't think he's a starting NBA caliber player. I think he's one of those guys that's like good enough for a roster spot. But I think he's just best suited as like playing against backups, unless he can figure out that three ball. Then that kind of changes things. Mitchell Robinson, nope. That was incredible. Just him charging off the bench, just to fight Miles Bridges, like ice pack still on and everything. That is wild. No, I do get what you're saying about Isaiah Stewart. He's weird in the sense that like he definitely tries his best, but saying he's shown flashes of being a really good NBA player, but I think I'd push back on a little that he's not an NBA player. I think he's a solid backup, just not a starter. Say, I'm looking forward to seeing how this game plays out, though. So here we go. Like I said, it's kind of commercial break. We're just kind of chilling, waiting for waiting for it to come back. Like we're watching some. Where's this? Huh. Interesting. Okay. Let's see. Where are. Oh, okay. Say, and then a couple times I'll be pulling up my favorite, one of my favorite basketball sites too during the watch along. I'll give you guys a little preview of it. I kind of take every chance I get to show this one off because a good friend of mine actually makes it. So I thought I'd bring up a fun little Isaiah Stewart shot chart. By the way, if you want to check out this site, like I said, a friend of mine made this. He's a really big basketball fan, so he made this site called Court Sketch, where you can just look up a lot of different cool stuff. Like obviously you can pull up these shot charts, but the cool part about, like, for example, these shot charts is they go all the way back to 1997. So pretty much the start of all the play-by-play. So, like I said, it's just like cool little things. Like, you ever wanted to know what Michael? Just watch me struggle and just, like you said, you want to see what they shot back in 96, 97? Look at that! Oh, all that red. Actually, say very good on pretty good numbers from behind the arc. Say it's just right here is a little rough, but that's all right. Rim numbers are kind of surprising, but I guess they were so loaded up at the rim on them. That's why these mid-range numbers are higher. But yeah, no. If you ever want a good site to check out some NBA stats, definitely check out Court Sketch. Oh, they called an offensive foul on Dennis Jenkins? Say, yeah, I wouldn't waste a challenge. I'd just let it go. But all right, well, you know what? I'm always okay with rewarding guys for verticality, but that's 3 on Jenkins already, so he's not playing much the rest of this half. Nice little one-footed fade from Brunson. Oh no, Jenkins is staying in the game with 3 fouls. That's interesting. So here we go. Karis LeVert. Say Jenkins is going to give it back to LeVert. Karis is going to flip it down to Smith, who throws it down. Say great ball and player movement. Say great ball and player movement led to a wide open Tulu Smith, and he just finishes it off. So here we go. Mitchell Robinson's going to try to go at Smith one-on-one, and he couldn't finish, but there's a foul. So Mitchell Robinson's going to go to the line for 2. I like that. Get your shoulder into him, create a little separation, stop, pop, hit that little fade. So Mitchell Robinson, not a good free throw shooter. Well documented. He's a little rough on that end. Good hit. All right. It's going to possibly be a good day for you when he's hitting his free throws. Good block by Robinson. Oh, they called an illegal screen on Alvarado. Ooh, I don't even know why you do that. Jenkins wasn't really going to go contest that with 3 fouls. I don't even know why you're going to do that if you're Alvarado. Must just not have realized who it was. It's all like I get the idea of what he was trying to do, but I wouldn't have worried too much about doing that, especially with Jenkins being the guy down there. Even if Jenkins went up with Brunson, he's not going to stop him at the rim. Brunson's just like it's very like big for being so small, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, here we go, a little Smith Cunningham action. Turnover. We're gonna get an end of the quarter. End of the quarter 3, and it's rims out. OG could not get it to go. It was a wide open look too. So we have a 28-26 game. So here we at the end of the first, it's 28-26. I definitely appreciate everybody tuning in, even if you're just sneaking by. Definitely appreciate everybody. Like I said, this is just a fun little watch along. But obviously, if you would like to talk about anything, I'm pretty much down. You can ask about any sport. Mainly an NFL, NBA guy. Of course, I'm a big fan of professional wrestling. You got the Meaty Boys podcast on Mondays. Saw news that Amen Thompson is eligible for a max contract, which I really don't think we're giving a max contract to Amen Thompson. So here we go. I'm excited to see how this game plays out. It's a fun first quarter. Good back and forth. Absolutely. So we're just waiting on the game to come back. Got some commercials. Fun. Like I said, that was a really good look that they got from OG Anunoby at the end of the first, and he just could not get it to go. So here we go. Like I said, just hanging out. But yeah, and this site also has fun games. So there's called Guess Who, for example, the game. You can pick a season, a game mode. So you are like a difficulty, easy, medium, hard. And what happens is you have to try to guess whose shot map it is. So very inefficient on Philly. This is a interesting one. But now let's say I'll just throw a name out there because I'm just kind of going for an example here. So now let's say you want to guess VJ Edgecombe. Even though I'm like 90% sure that is not the right answer. Don't even let me. Yeah. You know, I'm just gonna type in Maxi. I know it's not the right answer, but and then that's how it looks like. Oh, your guess, Maxi. Correct answer, Kelly Oubre Jr. So, like I said, you can also play fun games to kind of challenge yourself on there too. As we get back to the game, So here we go. The B-ball Paul's got the ball. Gives it to Ron Holland inside with a nice finish. So here's Jose Alvarado. Looks like we got Jalen Brunson getting a rest. They're trying to run action for Bridges. Ooh, old age. Ooh. Alvarado takes it to the rim and finishes. Let's see what answer we got for Cade. Oh, okay. Cade's going to use the screen to shake off Mikal. Passes inside to B-ball Paul. One more. And a foul. Nice little shoulder bump right there. I think, is Javonte Green going to line? Yeah, okay, he is. So, first free throw is up and good. So, Javonte Green hits the first one. Here we go. We're going to get a second attempt here in a second. And it's good. It feels like there's just a lot more ball and player movement right now for Detroit. Not like, I guess not a lot more, but yeah, it just feels like we're getting. Oh, Alvarado's going to get into the lane and good finish. Jose's been getting to the rim at will. Oh, Cade's going to try to just take. Oh, good pass by Cade. Sets up a dunk for B-ball Paul. B-ball Paul with an early 7. So here comes Jose Alvarado. Oh, Paul's just going to jump out there. OG's kind of trapped. He's got to kick that out. Bridges is going to catch it and let it rip right away, and that's off. But here we go. Cade's going to take it right back. Mikel's going to pick up Cade. Cade's backing him down. Good block by OG. And OG's going to get rewarded by the finish on the other end. Cade just had no idea OG was there, and then he also got the nice leak out. So here comes Cade again. He's going to go right at Mikal Bridges. Not exactly. That was maybe the worst possession I might see all year. Cade just tried to force one. The second look wasn't terrible when he missed it horribly the first time, and then this Pistons team is working really well when they're moving the ball around and just being active. But the couple times they've tried to create their own look and just kind of play standstill basketball hasn't been good. Oh, blocked by LeVert. Okay. Kick it to the corner. Karras is going to pump fakes, reload, and off. Here we go. Alvarado's going to try to get to the rim, but no, he's going to pitch it out to OG. Oh, he went for the dunk and the ball got wedged in between the rim. Okay. You don't see that very often. So now we're going to bring the ball at. All right, now we're going to get a jump ball. Is that going to be between Cade? Is Cade jumping, or is it going to be B-ball Paul? All right. Paul Reed and Mitchell Robinson. Okay, makes sense. Oh, okay. Oh no, it's okay. There's a lot of like physicality before those jump balls even happened. There we go. Knicks win the jump ball. There we go. So Cat actually was the one that jumped and he won. Cat and Mitchell Robinson are both out there, along with Alvarado, Brunson, and Mikal Bridges. Looks like Cat wanted to ISO, but he got the ball poked free. Cat's trying to work the ref right now. And out goes Javonte Green. In comes Tobias. I'm sorry, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't Tobias. It says Smith. So Cade's gonna try. I'm not a fan of Mikel's gonna miss the fade. There's a lot of contact. Cat's gonna go to the line. Yep. I'm not a big fan of what Cade's doing right. I just try to force the issue too much. Oh, they're gonna. Yeah, Cade's not happy. He thought he was fouled. Nah, it feels like so once again, it feels like with Cade, he's just forcing the issue too much right now. Earlier in the game, we saw a lot of ball and player movement that was working really well, but these last couple possessions has just been Cade trying to go in and get a bucket. And when you're going against Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, it's just better to move the ball at that point because it's just not easy to go at those guys one on one. By the way, I'd say show off my new cards I got. I got a Bucky Irving card. And I got a Matthew Stafford card. Say, if you want a chance to win cards like that, check out Wire to Wire Breaks on Whatnot. Our boy, the NFL genius Gene. Say, shout out to the GOAT. He been doing a lot of card giveaways on there, so should definitely check him out. What is this commercial? I don't even understand half these commercials. Oh, Dubai Airlines. Never been to Dubai. Say it. Say, what are your guys' thoughts on the anti-tanking measures? I do like Alvarado. I do like Alvarado. He's already been very impactful. Jeremy Shohan's a very good defensive player. I think he can definitely help on the defensive end. But like with how rough he is on the offensive end, I'm curious on how much run he's going to get in like really big games if there's no foul trouble or injuries. Oh, they won the challenge. All right. So here we go. Here comes Cade Cunningham. He's going to try to take Shamet off the dribble. Oh, between the legs action, kicks it to Tobias, flips it over. Oh, here we go. Oh, Alvarado poked it free. I thought he just lost it out of bounds. So Karis LeVert's going to inbound. He's going to give it to Tobias, gives it to Cade, who's going to launch a 15-footer. That's good. That's what I like to see. Say, get Cade moving off the ball and NBA will sell the team to a new one. Yeah. That idea is actually an interesting one. It would definitely force teams to try, to win more often. Obviously, I think the biggest issue with that is I don't know how you'd get the owners to agree with that because obviously they'll have a say, but it's an interesting idea. Definitely is. I guess my question is, what would the win number be? What would that win percentage be? Like 40? Like if you win like 40% of your games or 35? Cuz it's weird. It's hard because obviously every team, can't be good at the same time. So I'm just not it's one of those things where maybe like a sweet spot for an idea like that would be like just win at least 40% of your games. But even then, I don't know if 40% is too adventurous of a number. Well, Mitchell Robinson's going to kick it to Shamet, who's going to he's going to probe for a minute. Shamet's going to draw the foul. So here we go. Teams can all get lottery picks 2 years in a row. Saying no, that's an interesting idea. You know what's funny though? I think I saw another idea which I thought was interesting to help teams kind of get out of mediocrity and help them to continue to improve. And it was kind of incentivizing making the play in. And it was, I forgot who said it, but it was somebody threw out the idea if you make the play and you get an extra mid level exception to spend, which I thought would actually be a fun idea. I don't think making the play is a bad thing. I think the problem is teams get perpetually stuck there. So I think if we're not going to eliminate the plane, which I don't think Adam Silver is going to do. I think maybe just kind of 180 and, good pass to Stuart Thompson. But I think maybe like incentivizing the play-in teams with like an extra, like I said, with an extra exception to spend. I think that would be a fun idea. This was a good, perfect touch pass right underneath to a sewer. No, yeah, it's one of those things. Like I said, I'm paranoid about this idea of trying to, fix the lottery or whatever. because half the ideas thrown out there, I'm like, okay, so we're just going to tank earlier. It's like, oh, freeze the odds by the trade deadline. Like, okay, so teams are just going to tank for the entire season instead of half the season, or like Tobias Harris, count it, big slam, going to the line, possible 3-point play. I just fell asleep. Say, Karis LeVert looked up. Nobody was with Tobias. And I'm going to fly like an eagle. Can't you see? And Tobias Harris is say, here we go. We got a little Josh Hart, Jose Alvarado screen game. Brunson. Good finish by Mitchell Robinson. Too big. This is a really small lineup. Holy cow. I'm not even sure. Dennis Jenkins is going to take it, flip it over to Tobias. Oh, nice little. Ooh, good cleanup duty there. Good finish by Smith. We have a lineup with Jalen Brunson, Jose Alvarado, Landry Shamet, and Josh Hart at the 4. No basket. Oh, they called 3 seconds before the shot went up. Oh, wow. Lazy inbound. Jose Alvarado with the steal, but Josh Hart misses the layup. Say, Seward's going to take it strong, but he loses it going up. We got the Knicks on a break. Josh Hart is going to fake like he's going to shoot it. We knew he wasn't pulling it there. Brunson's going to get downhill, and that shot's off the mark. Good kick out. Karis LeVert is going to go one-on-one with Shamet. He's going to get to the rim. Gives it to a Sewer. Tobias, quick release. That's good. Good hit by Tobias Harris. I really don't like this lineup by the Knicks. As Shamet's going to get a 3 that's short. Alvarado's going to let one rip off. Because Jose Alvarado is not has never really been a knockdown shooter. I thought they called another one on Jenkins for a second. Josh Hart's not a knockdown shooter. Obviously, Mitchell Robinson can shoot. Like this is just a very small lineup that they can all get to. They can get to the rim, but there we go. Now they're mixing it up. So now we got a 6-point Detroit lead with a chance to add on. So we're gonna give it to Jenkins. Duncan kicks it to the corner. Tobias can't get it to go. Rebound Cat. Here comes OG. Gives it again to Cat. And he throws it up. It goes in, but they're going to say the foul was before the shot. It was very clearly before the shot. So here we go. Tolu Smith's giving him some good minutes tonight for Detroit. Love it. So here we go. Cat's gonna try to hand it off with the Brunson, but Thompson denied, so they kick it to Bridges. Bridges is gonna good little midi. It's good. We'll give it to Mikal. That's a good shot. That's a good hit. That's his spot. So here we go. Denise Jenkins is gonna. Oh, Asur was not expecting the ball. It's a turnover. Here comes Hart. Brunson's gonna think about shooting it. Probe the defense. Now everything's set. Say Brunson's going to take it right at Jenkins. Oh, OG with the little ball fake. It's a blow by. He takes it to the rim and he gets fouled. So OG's going to go to the line for two. It's a 45-41 game. Ooh, got a lightning storm going on outside here. Oh, Blake Griffin. You're messing around in the studio. It's 38 degrees in a thunderstorm. Okay. So here we go. OG's going to take it up. And second free throw is good. We have a 3-point game. I don't think there's an update. Let me fix this for you guys. Let me fix that for y'all. So in that brief second, Cade Cunningham hits a layup. 5-point game. So here we go. Cat's going to try to run a handoff to OG, but that gets denied. Denies the cut, kicks it to Hart. A little screen and pop, but they're just trying to force a switch. Jalen Brunson's going to try to get inside. Josh Hart struggles to handle. He's going to shoot a 10-footer. That's good. Good hit by Josh Hart. Good recovery. So here we go. We get Brunson on Cunningham. Cade's going to get to that little 10-foot spot, elevate right over, and he knocks it down. So that was a good take. I like that take from Cade. Brunson's going to try to answer back, but he can't get it to go. But Cat with the offensive rebound and throws it down with authority. Here we go. Cade's trying to back down OG. Oh, and he's going to draw the foul, go to the line for two. He's actually getting like good positioning. Like he's backing down OG and Mikal pretty well. Obviously, the main difference is they're just so long that they can still contest the shot once he gets them down there. But that time he was able to draw two. Cade Cunningham was calling out people for foul baiting. I thought that was actually pretty great. Cade says the flopping is just too much. What do you do with your best players that do it? 3 of the top 5-10 guys in the NBA are doing it constantly. You gonna kick them out of the game? Yeah, I will say some of the foul baiting is egregious. You know what's funny though? You know what might be the most hilarious foul baiter in the league? Denny Advia. Tell me how he's averaging 9 free throws a game. Say, I will say though, Cade. Say Cade doesn't try to bait for calls. Like it's funny because he's like just out of the top 10 in free throws attempts per game, but so he tends to get a lot of his, the old fashioned way because he's just very aggressive going inside. Chris Paul was a beast at foul baiting back in the day. Absolutely. Chris Paul maybe had like my favorite like foul baiting ever when he would always do he'd do the rip through. He'd wait till you got your hand in there and immediately rip it through. Say we have ourselves a 3-point game. Say they should name that move after it. Yeah. No, that's fair. Say I think my favorite player who has a move named after it by far is Marcin Gortat. Say the Chris Paul bait CP free throw. Hey, that'd be a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, it kind of sucks how Chris Paul's career ended with just getting released and nobody picking him up. But great career for CP3, first ballot Hall of Famer for sure. Say one of the greatest point guards of all time for sure. So definitely appreciate you tuning in, Tony. Salute. And by the way, if you're all in, you got to check out Tony on the Sports Report on Wire to Wire Podcast Network. It's always a terrific vibe. No, Chris Paul still gets in regardless. So his career is just way too good to get snubbed from first ballot. By the way, if anybody is watching on Facebook and has a Discord, that link I posted in the chat is for the Meaty Boys and One Podcast Discord page. So, say if you're on Discord and you want to join our page, or say join the page that I run. Now, I'm always looking for new people to have conversations with. I'm posting on the Wire to Wire YouTube too. But no, yeah, he at the end of the day with CP3, he's going first ballot for sure. He's the guy that even though he never won a ring, he's very much so a winning basketball player. As Cade Cunningham hits it right over Jalen Brunson. He's up to 22 with that half. What a shot. Josh Hart's going to cut. He's going to... Oh, good hands by Thompson. Cade's going to try to get downhill, kick it to the corner. Duncan Robinson, open three. That's good. Cade Cunningham has been great. Brunson's going to try to step it back. It won't go. chance to put this game into double digits right now. They're going to kick it to a sore underneath. 24 seconds to go. We have a 10-point game. Pistons up. Say outside of a rough stretch in the second quarter where I didn't like what he was doing, like Cade overall has had a terrific first half. So here we go. Bridge is gonna shoot a 3, and that's off. And it will do it for the first half of this game. We have ourselves a 10-point game. 58-48. Say so. 10-point lead at halftime. But yeah, no, we like I said, I got a podcast. Discord server for the N1 podcast and Meaty Boys podcast. But I also have a kind of a spot to talk about everything, wrestling, non-sports stuff. Definitely. If you just want to come and hang out, obviously at the end of the day, I'm gonna just try to get a little something going, build a community, and just have a little fun. Debating if I want to do another giveaway for March Madness coming up. Might try to get a prize or something for that, or have a little contest. So here we go. Getting stared down by my dog right now. All right, guys, it is halftime. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple of minute break so I can let this little dork out. So I'm going to run the intro, but you can also see some of the shows that we have on here if this is your first time tuning in. And I'll be back in about 2 minutes. All right.
Yeah. Wake up with coffee and sports. Sunrise glow, listen coast to coast. A flow like you know.
Offensively, who made them? Oh, Patrick Mahomes.
Sideline to sideline with plays to show. This network's got the spark.
When you put up 300 yards rushing against someone, that you got your butt whooped.
I feel like I would have liked to see Oregon Ohio State in the semis, not the quarters. So I think some reseeding is probably where I would change. But
They're out of their mind. They're going to do this 3 quarterbacks in a row.
Here's the
Not-
crazy.
I just can't take it.
Birds keep flying high, fast cheering loud, and one podcast moving through the crowd. Needy boys brawling, no holds barred bout. This wire life never in doubt. Tune into the vibe.
That's my bold prediction for the show. Devin Booker, in the next 3 years, he will be a Houston Rocket.
Because I still think Seth is still at the top of his game. I do. I think he's right there. Who knows? Maybe not this year, but one time soon. Why wouldn't we potentially see Seth and Roman? One more, you know what I mean?
Tune in the vibe. Warning reps, good centers. Got me on the mic now, let's spill the tea. Talking courtside dreams from history. Legends on the blacktop now and then. From Wilt to Steph, we hit it again. Better chimes in, let's go deep. Young bloods rising, can't skip a beat. Puppy prospects with fire in their eyes. Draft night suckers and hoop dream high. Wire to wire, bring the heat. Podcast magic can't be beat. Do better, but go better. Or who cares? Trendsetters.
Woo! Bear. Oh, just made it back. I think right before the intro ended. No, sorry, we had to take a peanut break. If anybody doesn't know, I have 2 dogs. I have a 14-year-old Labrador named Brody and a 10-year-old King Charles Cavalier named Peanut, who I actually named a segment on the show after him, and a normal show, which I'm going to actually have to restart doing very soon here, probably next week. Say we have a segment called Puppy Prospects, where we talk about some college prospects. So normally we'll start it up closer to the draft and March Madness, so it's probably about the perfect time to start doing it again. But yeah, no, I named it after my dogs, or kind of puppies in general, but it's because the 2 dorks, they wouldn't stop barking a couple times during the show. So, you know how it is. Instead of getting mad at the dogs, I decided, let's just include them in the show. Clearly, they want to be a part. So, I don't know. So, Brody is currently do not disturb. He's in his bed right now. He's in his pool. I bought Brody we brought Brody like a kiddie pool, so we could play and dip his paws in the water when it got too hot, and we put it in the backyard and we tried it for a little bit, but he didn't really like it, so we like cleaned it out and we like put blankets in there because we didn't know what else to do with it, and yeah, now he absolutely loves it. It's like the perfect size bed for him, and Peanut's just a Dorkosaurus. Getting stared down again. He's just a big ball of love. He's very clingy. So he'll, like, when I do shows, he'll like either be laying right by my feet or he'll just sit there and stare me down. And currently he's deciding to just sit there and mean mug me. Second half of the NBA watch along. Mo, better. How you doing, Mo?
Hey, what's good, Brett? What's good, man? How's it going?
It's going good. Like I said, decided to have a little fun, do a watch along. It's currently 58-48, Pistons over the Knicks.
Yeah, I caught a little bit of maybe the last 5 minutes of the second quarter. Unfortunately, if you're a Knicks fan, even without Beef Stew, even without Jalen Duren, the games are playing out very similar to the previous games. It might be just as simple as the Pistons are just a bad matchup for what the Knicks do.
I think that might be it because before the game, I was like, this should be a game that the Knicks win. That the Pistons are missing like all of their bigs, like, but now like B-Ball Paul's put in good minutes, Tolu Smith's put in good minutes. Like this team just gives the Knicks fits.
Yeah, and I think they have the confidence they have the same confidence versus the Knicks as the Spurs have versus the Thunder. There's no fear. And look, I'll be the first to admit, I enjoy watching these young up and coming teams. I'm a big Cade Cunningham fan. I'm a Brunson fan. There's so many great players, and I love everything the Pistons do. I just feel like it would be an amazing accomplishment because I know they're so defensive driven. They're so good at attacking the basket. If they could go to even, let's say, the conference finals, I think I would be blown away because I really don't think they have a lot of firepower. They play with a lot of energy and they're very aggressive. But if you look at how they play, so much of what they do offensively, it is dependent upon what Cade does. I don't think that's a recipe to win a title. I do think they can beat the Knicks, but I think they can beat the Knicks because they match up with the Knicks. And the first thing they do with the Knicks is we're going to totally take Towns out the game. And because of his mindset, Towns seems to be more than willing to be like, all right, well, they've taken care of me. So, and everything becomes, what can Brunson do? What are you going to get from OG or Bridges? The Pistons are just a really bad matchup for the Knicks. If the Knicks are going to go on the deep playoff run that a lot of Knicks fans think they'll go on, I think they're going to need someone else to take out the Pistons for them.
I will say, Mo, they ran a lineup earlier this game that I was absolutely ragging on because I hated it. They ran a lineup so they had Jose Alvarado, Jalen Brunson, Landry Shamet, Josh Hart, Mitchell Robinson. And I was getting so annoyed watching because I'm like, all right, Jose Alvarado is not a knockdown three-point shooter. Neither is Josh Hart. Mitchell Robinson can't shoot. So you're just undersized at three positions. And with Mitchell Robinson, I don't know what the end game of that lineup was, but it just got blown out of the water.
That's a crazy lineup because it's essentially Mitchell Robinson, who's a non-scorer surrounded by four guards. Those are our guards. I don't know what the thinking there was. Maybe Mike Brown's just throwing something at the wall and seeing what sticks. They haven't had a lot of success. And look, it's weird to say this, but if you've seen the previous matchups, being down by 10 is not bad if you're a Knicks fan. It's a lot better than what the other matchups went like. So, look, I think the Knicks can get back into it. I don't know. The thing is, Detroit defensively can derail what New York does offensively. I don't think New York defensively can stop the Pistons from doing what they want to do.
I think the Knicks are just too stagnant a lot of the time. It's when you're going against a physical defense the Pistons, you don't really just want to straight up ISO them because you're playing right into their wheelhouse.
Right.
When the Knicks are running a lot of two-man action and getting the ball moving, there was a 3-point game. It looked great, but the minute they all of a sudden started trying to run OG ISO, Cat ISO, then everything just started getting mucked up because this is the physical defense that wants you to ISO against them. So, and they're just going to load up on the help side and force you into tough shots. I think the Knicks right now just got to focus on how do we get ball movement and player movement back into the mix of things. Just got to knock down a couple threes and they're right back in this thing.
Well, look, what you just said is so spot on. You can't beat the Pistons playing iso ball. Let's start there. They're too good. They show and recover too fast. They attack screens. You got to, like you said, ball and body movement. Make the defense react to what you're doing, not the other way around.
Yeah, Cade's been terrific this first half. There was a 3-minute stretch where I got confused at what he was trying to accomplish, but he bounced back really well. Overall, great great half. There's like a 3-minute stretch where he's just trying to force things over like OG and Mikel, and it just slogged everything down. But as soon as he got back to just distributing the ball and picking his matchups, then he was back to cooking. Last couple times down the court, he just found Jalen Brunson and shot right over him.
Yeah, that's a tough matchup for Brunson for sure. Wow, I saw a really good question. I'm sure you already answered it. Does CP3 miss first ballot? No, he's first ballot. You can't be an 11-time. He's an 11-time All NBA player, 12-time All Star. Like in the history of basketball, I don't think there's been a person who's been an 8-time All Star that didn't walk in first ballot. So he's gonna walk in first ballot. My only problem is you see some of the crazy stuff people say on social media. We do this all the time. When a player retires, we go back and we look at their career, and then we say give them their flowers, which I 100% agree with. But then some people go too far and they overrate them. There was a group, and they were going back and forth, and it was like, after Steph, I've got CP3 as the second greatest point guard of all time. I was like, Chris Paul's tremendous. My problem with the argument that you shouldn't penalize players for not winning titles, I agree with that. But I think it works the other way around too. I shouldn't penalize other great players who do win titles. Like, if we want to say, the ring culture thing weighs heavily, I get that, but you can't go, well, take away his 5 titles and his 3 finals MVPs. And I'm like, but he does have 5 titles and he does have 3 finals MVPs, and they kind of matter, right? They kind of matter. Some people might have Chris Paul third all time amongst point guards. Like I said, if you go by accolades, he's as accomplished as any point guard that's ever played. Like I said, 11-time All-Star or All-NBA, 12-time All-Star. I believe he led the league in steals 5 or 6 times, led the league in assists 4 or 5 times. All-NBA defender like 8 or 9 times. Like he checks every box. But to say he's the second greatest point guard of all time, yeah, I can't go there. Look, I can't even go with the notion Steph's the greatest point guard of all time. Steph's terrific, and I'm okay if you want to label him a point guard, but he can't be the greatest point guard of all time when he wasn't even the primary ball handler on his own team. We joke about it, but the primary ball handler is Draymond. Steph's the secondary playmaker. He can't be the greatest point guard of all time. He's a terrific player. I can't do that.
I will say with Chris Paul, I think if you want to say he's like one of the 5 greatest point guards of all time, I don't really have a problem with that, because if you want to tell me that he's better than someone like I've seen people put like John Stockton in their top 5. If you want to say he's better than John Stockton, I'm not going to argue that.
No, I'm with you.
Say like if you want to make an argument he's better than someone like Isaiah Thomas, that's close, but like I'll listen to it. But once you start saying he's better than like Steph and Magic, well, I kind of stop listening at that point. Like, those two are kind of undisputedly like the 2 greatest point guards of all time. And then,
which is where I'm at. And I like what you said. If you want to tell me that you have him ahead of Isaiah Thomas, I'll listen to that conversation, because I think it's a conversation. Even if I still would have Isaiah Thomas over him, I don't think that's a crazy notion that he would be third all time. That to me, or even if you just say top 5, that to me is acknowledging how great he is and not penalizing him for not winning a title. You know what I mean? Like that, I think that is acknowledging how great he is. So at a minimum, I've got him top 5, but I'll listen to the back and forth about Isaiah. So the argument they were making is, well, he's got a better handle than Magic, and he's a better shooter than Magic. Those are both true. Those are factual things. And obviously he's a better defender than Magic. That's true too. But that's like that 2-way argument. I did something because I was testing where people were at, and I put out better basketball player Ray Allen or Klay Thompson. And in my head, I thought Ray Allen was the better basketball player, but the argument that I thought people were going to make was Klay was a two-way player, right? Which he was. The problem with him being a two-way player is, though, it's not like he and Ray Allen are really close when it comes to what they do offensively. Ray Allen was a number one option for almost all of his career. When he went to Boston, that's when you can actually say, like, that Ray Allen essentially was Klay Thompson, but that was past his prime Ray Allen. The very best version of Ray Allen is better than the very best version of Klay Thompson.
No, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So if you take away Magic Johnson's 5 titles, okay, take away the 5 titles and the 9 finals appearances. What are you left with? You're still left with a 3-time MVP. You're still left with a guy that led the league in assists 4 or 5 times, that led the league in steals 3 times. That is a career 19, 11, and 7, shooting over 50% for his career. And this is a career that we all know was actually cut short. I can't say you're better than someone just off the fact that you got a better handle. The better bag argument can be true, but it doesn't mean you're better by default. Joe Johnson has a better bag than most guys in the Hall of Fame, but I'm not going to put Joe Johnson ahead of most guys in the Hall of Fame. I don't even know if Joe Johnson is going to make the Hall of Fame. And I'm a fan, but I wouldn't look at Joe Johnson and go, he's a lock. I don't think Joe's a lock. I don't think DeMar DeRozan's a lock. I know we just had a group of finalists that they put up there, and I'm a fan of all those players. And I guess maybe I'm a softie. If I were voting, I might vote everybody in. But if you wanted to make the case, come on, Mo, Blake Griffin and Amari are really, really good. They were terrific for like a 6 or 7 year period, but they're not Hall of Famers. I'm not even gonna argue that. I think if they get in, I don't think they get in first ballot.
I think all like those two, ISO Joe, I think those are guys that like they're either getting in on pretty much the last ballot or like Veterans Committee. Like I don't think any of those guys are really high ballot Hall of Famers, but I think ISO Joe might sneak in because like every member of the 20,000 point club is in the Hall of Fame outside of him, and I believe DeMar DeRozan and Tom Chambers might be the only other two. But no, I think he might sneak in, but if he does, it's going to be like, hey, he's about to fall off the ballot. Let's get him in the Hall real quick. But still a very good player.
Yeah, and look, if Joe Johnson gets into the Hall of Fame, and yeah, if you could count the big 3, I think I would agree with that. They're probably not going to, but I actually agree with that. If Joe Johnson gets into the Hall of Fame, Brett, I think you're right. I think it'll be down the road or something like that. Same for DeMar, by the way. But if he gets in down the road when we're having a conversation, all you're going to remember is that's Joe Johnson, Hall of Famer, right? You're not going to go, there's Joe Johnson, the guy that it took 30 years to get in. They're not going to say that. They're just going to say Joe Johnson, Hall of Famer, the same way that the NFL Veterans Committee finally put in Roger Craig. That was, I mean, talk about a long wait. So look, I'm not on the committee. I'm fans of both Amari and Blake, but objectively, I think the NBA needs to be a little bit more stringent on what they call a Hall of Fame career. And I know they've bent the rules a little bit for European players. I would like them to be a little bit more stringent. I think Joe, Amari, Blake, DeMar, I kind of feel like they're all in the same boat. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I think they get in, but I would be stunned if they get in first ballot.
They'd almost have to create like a second Hall of Fame at this point if they want to do that, like the Basketball Hall of Fame and the NBA Hall of Fame.
Which is what I've been screaming for forever. I think the NBA needs to have an NBA Hall of Fame, and then you can truly separate careers and be a little bit more strict on who's in the Hall of Fame. Like the Basketball Hall of Fame is very broad because you can get in if you had an incredible college career. They'll put you in if you had a great college career and a so-so pro career because they'll talk about your contributions to the game or whatever. That's how Grant Hill got in. That's how Ralph Sampson got in. I'm not. This isn't me saying I don't think those guys are deserving. Under the criteria now, what they do, I see why they get into the Basketball Hall of Fame. But if it were the NBA Hall of Fame, they wouldn't have got in because you would have said their careers were cut short. I doubt they get in, especially Sampson. I think he was nice for like a 3-season run, and then the injuries hit, and he was never the same. Grant Hill at least was a 7-time All-Star before he was done, before the injuries ravaged his body. I love the idea of a Basketball Hall of Fame. I really do. They're probably not going to do it, but I would love the idea of a not a Basketball Hall of Fame, an NBA Hall of Fame. You can separate. We're talking about your NBA professional career and what you did in it. Were you Hall of Fame worthy?
No, fair enough. OG smoked the lob. Oh, chance to tie the game. Duncan Robinson, 5-point swing. Duncan Robinson hits the 3. Say you got to finish the easy ones. If you're facing a good team like Detroit, you can't let the easy.
Agreed. You can't smoke the layups.
Say Cat's cooking now. 4-point play, good dunk, and yeah, okay, Cat's starting to get aggressive, and that I feel like that's exactly what they needed with the entire like Detroit center rotation wrecked. It's kind of annoying that he didn't try to get going sooner.
They need a big game from Cat this game, and not just because Doran and Stewart are out. He needs to build his confidence up for playing and competing against the Pistons because at some point he will have to deal with Doran and Stewart, and he needs to match their physicality.
Yes, it is, Kyle.
100%, Kyle. I think everything they do in the regular season, they play hard, but I would argue this. They're very similar to Pat Riley's Miami Heat teams and some of the Knicks teams. They play the regular season like it's the postseason. But what happens to them in the postseason when he doesn't have a viable number 2? Like Jalen Duren, I love Jalen Duren. But if Jalen Duren is your second offensive option, you're in trouble. That's not enough. You need another person on the wing that can get you 18 to 20 a night consistently. They don't have that on the roster right now.
And Duncan Robinson, 8-point game. OG misses the easy 3 on the other end. Duncan makes him pay. And Cat's going to go to the line for 2. I don't understand this either. It's kind of funny. Like the Knicks will literally cover everybody in transition except for Duncan Robinson.
The best shooter of the Pistons. Right. Good job.
That was terrible. Like Mikal Bridges takes an unnecessary gamble to go for his steal. And in doing so, now he's way out of position to where Duncan Robinson has check the wind warm-up 3. Say the Knicks just got to be a little more disciplined on the defensive end right now. Like, find the shooters. And like the Pistons have plenty of non-shooters you can take chances off of and take risks.
Facts.
But just don't take a risk off the one guy on the court that you genuinely cannot do that with.
Right. The one guy you should never leave. Right. Agreed.
Say, like, if that was a Sewer Thompson in the corner, yeah, go for that steal. You can recover back to a Sewer without much of an issue. But say Duncan, nah, you can't be doing that.
And I think that's another issue with the Pistons that makes them so unique to be at the top of the East. They don't shoot the 3 ball consistently as a team. I mean, you have Duncan Robinson, but outside of him, they don't have a lot of shooting.
No, they got to the top of the East off physicality, hard defense, and
yes. Agreed, 100% agreed. And don't get me wrong, I love watching them play. They almost have an old school style of play, especially on the defensive end, that they know because they're so physical, they're going to get a lot of fouls called against them, and they still think it's worth it.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, I appreciate everybody who's here in the chat or just passing by. Like I said, we're just having a little fun doing a watch along. You know, the NBA's back, first game off the All-Star break. Say on Prime TV. So figure why not? If you like the discourse that you're hearing, you can check us out more on, Wire to Wire Podcast Network, or we do have an And One Podcast / Meaty Boys Podcast Discord page. So if you want to continue the conversation over there, if you like Discord, let's say we got a page over there, and it's got a topic for everything. So, Mo, did you see that one Lakers thing that I shared earlier in the one group chat?
I missed it. What was it?
Oh my! So it was the funniest thing ever. So this guy says in 28, and this is a guy obviously complaining about, LeBron's run and he only got the Mickey Mouse ring. But
Right.
This is the funny part to me. In 2018, the Lakers had a young core of Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle, Kyle Kuzma, Josh Hart. Those first four names make sense, though, right, Mo?
Right.
This next name kills me. Channing Frye, Zubac, Caruso, KCP, Lonzo Ball. Okay, those next four make sense. Isaiah Thomas. That killed me. Like, what? You're talking about a young core. Why is Channing Frye and Isaiah Thomas post hip surgery here?
I remember that we had IT on the roster for a while, but like most of his stops past those surgeries, he just never was the same player. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't even remember Channing Frye being on the Lakers. It must have been one of those blip things. I have no recollection of him being on the Lakers.
So the young core was the whole roster, pretty much.
Yes, and look, LeBron shows up, and you know how it goes. Start getting rid of young players, and I'm okay.
It worked out.
Right. I understand the psychology. I'm ready. I'm willing to sacrifice what they could be for what I know Anthony Davis is. And it worked out. You got a title out of it. Whatever people think of that title, it's a title and it counts. And so it did work out. And that's what I always tell my fellow Laker fans. Like, look, if you sacrifice the future, but you do win that title, then it worked out. You get, like, I know you'd love to have 2 titles, but if you get one more, which they did, then it was worth it.
Especially like nowadays with parity being so rampant. Like nobody's won 2 titles, like back-to-back titles since what, the 18, 17 and 18 Warriors?
Yeah.
Like it's been a while since somebody's gone back-to-back, so there's really no shame in not winning a second one. And did you see the news with the league going to try to implement anti-tanking measures?
And what are those? I did not see that.
Oh, you were ready for these concepts? We'll go one by one, and we'll see how much you like them. The first idea they had: first-round picks can be protected only top 4 or top 14 plus. So they're going to want to mess with pick protections.
Okay.
Lottery odds freeze at the trade deadline or a later date, which I think could be disastrous if they try that one.
I don't like that at all.
Like, okay, Mo, if you're a team that's going to tank, do you really care if you start tanking from game 1? Like, what's the difference? All you're going to do is have a full season of tanking if you do this whole freeze it at the deadline, because what's in the first half? Well, we got to tank. We got to get that good, spot locked up. But then second half of the year, it's, oh, well, we might have a team next year. We don't want our key players getting hurt, so we're just going to keep it moving.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I could just start the season tanking. You know what I mean? Like we could. Oh, so there's a way around that. We'll just be god awful to start the season. Look, I get what Silver's trying to do. I think there's more practical measures you should try to consider, but the stuff that you just told me, so extreme. I don't think that will work. I actually think that would make things worse, much worse.
No, absolutely. Another idea. Oh, good hit by Cade. Another idea. No longer allowing a team to pick top 4 in consecutive years and or consecutive bottom 3 finishes.
Huh.
It's
Wait,
intriguing.
so if I get the number 2 pick in the draft 2 years in a row, I can't have that second pick the second year? What?
Yes.
So what does that mean? Instead of getting the second pick, I go to like the 5th pick?
Yeah, I guess you just get bumped to 5. Or
So look, I get how teams tank and that annoys people, but what if that second pick is, say, is Donovan Mitchell, right? Let's say the first pick is, I'm just throwing names out there, but the first pick is Hallie. I get it. Hallie's a franchise point guard. The next guy is Donovan Mitchell. And I don't get to have Donovan Mitchell because I've got to go down to 5. And then the 5th guy is like Walter McCarthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, something's wrong. I think about what that could do. Like, you could sit there and go like, yo, there's 3 great players in this draft. Like, 3 of them are legitimate franchise players. And because we get bumped down to 5, we have no shot to get any of them. Like, I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I was a big fan of that one either. Teams can't pick top 4 the year after making the conference finals. So pretty much it's just going after teams that traded for really bad teams' picks.
Okay.
Like, I guess. Like, whatever. So this one is the funniest one to me, Mo. Lottery odds allocated based on a 2-year records. And my response to that one idea, Mo, was, what does that change? Like, do the Kings look better if I go, well, look at last year's record? No, they still suck. Like, do the Pelicans look better if I go, but we look at last year? Like, no, they're like slightly worse than they were last year. They weren't a good basketball team last year either.
Right.
Like, the really bad teams, I think it's funny because the teams that they keep mentioning, like the Kings, like, what the fuck is that going to do with the Kings? Like, buddy, they're going to be in the lottery every year until like the second coming. Like, that's not going to do anything to curb them.
I don't understand that way of thinking because, like you said, the Kings, usually the Wizards are there, but the Wizards might surprise us next year. They've made some smart moves, but the Kings have been in the lottery. To me, it feels like they've been in the lottery the last 2 decades, and the sad thing is, A, they've gotten it wrong multiple times, but B, when they've gotten it right, Brett, they've traded away the player. Like, when they've gotten it right, they didn't show the patience that you have to show as a franchise and as an organization to let the player develop there with them. They make panic moves. Like, if you're a fan of basketball, and I told you could have a backcourt of Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox, you would probably look at me and go, yo, that's a nice backcourt, Mo. Both guys can make plays, both can score. Halliburton's a legitimate 6'7", so he can actually guard 2 guards, so it wouldn't be about size or anything like that. And yet the Kings thought, no, we need to get rid of one of them.
The funny part is, Mo, if we had like a thing where we did a tournament and all the teams just had players that they drafted in the past decade, the Kings would arguably have the best guard room in the league. Like, you would have 3 all-NBA level players in your guard room. And not many teams can say that. I mean, 3 all-NBA point guards, and not many teams could pull that off because, of course, they drafted, like, IT, and then they drafted, Fox, and then they draft Hallie. Like, they're actually, like, have a good eye for point guard talent. They just don't know how to keep said point guard talent.
That's it right there.
But
and I get their plight, right? Because they're a small market, so they can't have 3 max guys and be a mediocre team. Think about the 2 years ago, they were on this incredible run, but in reality, they just lost in the first round of the playoffs to the Warriors. But that was like the highlight of the Kings over the last decade. You know what I mean? Like, outside of what they did with Chris Webber, they've been very bad for a long time. And before Chris Webber, they were very bad for a long time. And now they're back in a situation where look, this isn't me rooting against Sacramento as an organization, but they look like they're on pace to be very bad for a long time again.
I'm keeping this up here for Kyle because I do actually agree with this at the end of the day. I think here's the thing: people are making too big of a deal about tanking. Here's my thing, Mo: are half of these teams tanking, or are they just poorly run? Like, you cannot convince me that like the Chicago Bulls are tanking. They're not run well. Like, you can't convince me that the Sacramento Kings are tanking. They're
Facts.
just not run well. Like,
Yeah.
half of these teams will be like, oh, they're tanking. Like, some teams are. Like, Utah, I think, is pretty shamelessly doing it. But at the same time, like, a lot of these teams, too, they're just not run well. Like, there's a difference between the two.
No. And that's the funny thing, right? I don't think the Kings and the Wizards, again, I don't think they're tanking. I think they're honestly that bad. You know what I mean? Like the organizations are run wrong. In the talent and the roster that they put out on the floor, they're legitimately that bad. I don't think when you look at Sacramento's roster top to bottom, they don't have to throw games. They could give you their best effort, and they're probably going to lose anyway. Honestly, they're just not good. The Wizards, I think they haven't been run well, but to their credit, I will say at the trade deadline, I thought they were going to make panic moves. They made interesting moves that I think if you keep your young assets and you keep your picks, they make you flexible. If Trae Young and Anthony Davis don't work out, I don't think that kills the Wizards because they didn't give up anybody. And I'm not used to saying the Wizards making smart moves, but somebody in their front office thought outside the box. And it didn't cost them nothing really. But I think you're right. Utah actually has a ton of talent. I mean, I'm not trying to be crazy, but if they played their best players consistently, they probably have a legitimate shot to make the play-in. But they're, Danny Ainge and company, they're invested in trying to add more young assets and get a better draft position. I'm not even mad at that. Like, I hate that people make it out like tanking is this new disease in the NBA, Brett, when it's been around for forever. And if we didn't kill the Sixers for basically tanking for 4 years, trust the process. And they did have some success with that, right? They hit obviously on Joel Embiid and they hit on Ben Simmons, obviously. They did not hit on Markelle Fultz. They did not hit on what is the big man's name?
Ja Okafor?
Yes. On both of those, Sark and Jahlil Okafor. Okafor had talent, but he's got the motor of a snail. And because the league shifted again when he got in, he's effective in the restricted area, but he can't really shoot from any kind of range, doesn't play defense. Like, he would have been a much better basketball player 10 years ago. But in today's NBA, he's a luxury, not a necessity.
You know what's going to be funny? If they bring back the Supersonics on an expansion, they might win a playoff series before the Kings win theirs.
That's so scary, but I think that's true.
Supersonics beat the Kings in the first. Yeah.
I don't even think that's crazy. I really don't.
Garpax. Yeah. The Bulls could never figure it out. Like, the Bulls are the perfect example of a bad front office because for example, like, you make a mistake in the draft and draft Patrick Williams, and then you double down and go, here's $90 million. And you did it before you even had to extend him. So, like, I don't even think that contract's kicked in yet. And you're just like, excuse me? What are we doing here?
Yeah. Look, John Paxson is as bad a GM as he was a great role player. He stinks. God. John Paxson just repeatedly cripples the franchise. And I'm on board. If you tell me, look, we think Zach Edey is a building block. Not saying he's the main guy, but he's the main guy right now, but he's a building block of what we could have. I like Zach Edey. I like Bucelis. I think Bucelis has a bright future. But I don't understand some of the moves that they made because they lack the patience. Look, first of all, I want to know who their scouting staff is, because whoever looked at Patrick Williams up and down repeatedly and brought him in for multiple workouts and said, this is the guy. I don't know how many times you can get fired. They should be fired repeatedly. Like that was just a horrible call. The only call worse than the Patrick Williams call would be old boy that got drafted from Cleveland a few years back.
Bennett?
God, my God. You know how, Brett, you're really big on this. So is Kyle, a few other guys at Wire to Wire. You guys like to break down the film and look at them and see their strengths and weaknesses. I actually look for film on Ben. I'm talking about, like, I was looking for his high scoring games and and even in those games, I didn't get it. I did not get it. And plus, I was looking at the competition he played against, and I was like, I don't understand what Cleveland sees. I didn't see it. I don't understand how some of these scouting guys just stealing money.
And the 76ers traded Drew Holiday too.
Yes, they did. Yeah, facts.
Yeah. Yes, they did.
What did it say? Wait. The local media in Chicago told fan base Patrick Williams' comp was oh my God.
This is a true story because I have seen this multiple times. Like when in the draft process, after he got drafted, they're like, player comp, Kawhi Leonard. I'm like, who? Like Kawhi Leonard in like high school? Like as NBA Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi Leonard.
Like it's such a. It just feels like some guy. I feel like teams. Okay, I'm trying to figure out the perfect way to phrase this.
That's a horrible player comp.
Probably don't try to draft guys based on you think they can have outlier development like Kawhi Leonard.
Right.
Like, production does matter, but being realistic in your standards does matter. Like, how many people have developed like Kawhi Leonard? None. There's a reason why Kawhi Leonard's kind of one in that regard.
He is a one-off in my book. And look, the thing about Patrick Williams is, though, I don't get it because Patrick Williams is a power forward. Kawhi Leonard's a wing. I don't get the comp to begin with. And by the way, as a power forward, he's not even a good power forward. He rebounds like a two-guard. I don't want to kill Patrick Williams. I hope Patrick Williams turns his career around, has a really good career. I always root for the player, but when they get it that wrong, like the local media, they should get roasted for making that player comp. Somebody should point that out. Like, I want names attached to that. Who specifically said his player comp is Kawhi Leonard? Like, wow. Like, I would argue his player comp isn't even Jeff Green, let alone Kawhi Leonard. Like, come on, man. Like, he's not even Jeff Green. And that's not even an exaggeration. Not even Jeff Green.
No, you know, I also saw something interesting on Twitter, Mo. So, you know, Enes Kanter was going on one of his rants, and I'm like, oh God, I hate seeing that guy pop up. But the only reason I'm mentioning this, Mo, is because the way this guy phrased it, first 4 words of his like tweet, to, talk about what Kanter was saying, NBA legend Enes Kanter. I'm like, hold on. Who's an NBA legend? Like, is he even like a Portland legend? Like, where is he a legend at? That killed me so much. I'm like, hold on. Like, we are throwing around the term legend really loosely here.
Yeah. Look, you could say NBA veteran because he is that, because he did play the league for years, and he was a good player, but no one's ever going to call him a legend.
Right. Like,
well, Kyle brings up a point. He's probably a legend in his house.
His own family probably even knows better. They're like, big dog, you're an NBA vet. Get it right.
Well,
No,
they probably call him a legend to his face. Behind his back, they probably tell the truth.
yeah, it's weird with him because he always claims like, oh, the NBA blackballed me out of the league. I'm like, brother, you're out of the league because you can't guard a pick and roll. Like, you couldn't defend anything. Like, you can rebound, and you could score like 2 feet away from the basket. Like, you can score from the post, but
Yeah.
the problem is like you'd give up like 30 points a night defensively because you genuinely had no idea how to guard the pick and roll. So it was just easy money every time you put him in the action.
I could have said it better. Enes Kanter, and you can look up this player's name and look up this player's numbers. He probably was actually better than Enes Kanter, but I would say Enes Kanter is a modern day Ronnie Cycli.
Jason Caffey is a Bulls legend. Yeah, they like to throw around. The media throws around the word legend a little too loosely at times.
Oh, ouch! That last part's brutal.
Hey, give Can't credit. Can't defend a pick and roll either. Yeah, but Cat can like score more than 3 feet away from the basket.
That's fair. That's fair. Although
Cat has scoring versatility. Cantor just really didn't. He had a post game, but as soon as you pushed him out, that's kind of it for him.
yeah, again, legend is a lot. Just say he was a professional basketball player. That's fair. Some of these people, man, they say some wild stuff, but I guess that's the yin and the yang of sports media. We just have to adjust to it to some degree.
No, absolutely.
Look at this game right now. The Pistons are in complete control, 90-79. Look, the game's far from over, plenty of time left, but they just kind of they know how to grind the Knicks down. They just wear them down.
If Cantor's a legend, then Scalabrine is a Celtics legend now.
I actually would accept the Scalabrine one more than the Cantor one because if nothing else, Scalabrine's got a cult following. He does. Scal's got a cult and he's got a really big personality, especially when he came with the Red Mamba. I love
yeah.
I love that.
I respect him for doing the scallenge, for finally showing like people how big the gap is between NBA players and real people when
Oh yeah, I've seen a couple of those games, and yes, there's a big difference. Yes,
yeah, he just works everybody. I'll be like, here's a D1 player. Yeah, final score is 11-1. Like, oh, nice. I saw a post that was you got a chance at $1 million. Who are you trying to stop? And it gave you the options of say Ant, Jalen Brunson, or Shea or Luca. I'm like, I don't think there's a good answer. Look, if they're really going full bore, I'm not winning $1 million.
Right.
I guess
so you're just telling me I'm not getting the million is what you're telling me. Like it's you guarding them one-on-one. I don't think the best thing I could do is foul them and frustrate them to where maybe they take a bad shot. I don't know, but actually stop them. Realizing, Brett, to start with, they're probably going to have like a good well, maybe not Brunson, but everybody else is going to have at least 2 inches or more on me to go with their athleticism and skill. Like, and everybody you named, yeah, stopping them. The best defenders in the current NBA don't stop the guys that you just named.
Right?
You gotta give me a better shot. Like, tell me, can I stop Jackson Hayes? You know what I mean? Like, I think I got a shot.
Yeah, right. Like me, like I don't even know who I'd pick. Like, maybe I could bait Luka into shooting a 3, which he probably just makes anyway because no pressure, empty gym. But I guess that's a lower percentage shot. Like, maybe I can bait Brunson into shooting a 3, which is probably going in anyway. But yeah, I thought that was funny because there were guys and they're like one guy was like, yeah, no, I'll go against Brunson in my prime. I think I could maybe get a stop. Like, Who are you? Is this like a Tony Allen burner account?
Yeah, look, man, and I guess most people would think of the guys you named that Brunson would be the easiest to cover. He's not easy to cover. He might be the easiest of that group, but you're not stopping him. The average person is getting gobbled up. They're getting owned. That's just reality.
Say Brunson has some of the best footwork in the league, and he's built. Like, he's not like tall, but he's just like strong. Like, he can bump guys.
Thank you. And I think that's what people forget when they say, well, he's small. I'm like, no, he's not tall, but he's definitely not a small man. If you look at Jalen Brunson, he looks like an NFL safety.
This cat going to get back in the play. There we go. Say, I'm shocked that there's been a lot of physicality. I'm shocked we have had no technicals given out.
Refs are letting them play. Normally in this NBA, a game like this, both teams would be shooting upwards of 25 or more free throws, but they're letting them play. I do like that the current NBA, what they do is once the playoffs start, they adjust for a lot more physicality. I think they found a happy medium to where they don't call every touch foul.
No, absolutely. Yeah, Brunson's frustrated. That was a nasty block. Steve Kerr will go to Rucker Park and score 50 on the best play at the park. Hey, if people don't understand the gap, I watched Marjan Beauchamp, who's literally out of the league like a year later after he did this, like go drop 81 in the Pro-Am. And obviously the Pro-Am has other pros like D1 players. Yeah, Beauchamp just went in there and dropped a casual 81, and it was out of the league a year later. Like,
I don't know about the Rucker now, but the Rucker in the late 90s and early 2000s, Steve Kerr would not have walked in there and done anything. That was back when guys like Stephon Marbury and Ron Artest, like they got big names. And I'm not knocking Steve Kerr, but when the guys that competed showed up, he didn't show up to the Rucker for a reason. Steve Kerr was a smart man. That wasn't a good spot for him.
Yeah, my bad. I lost track of refreshing the scoreboard. There you go.
Yeah, this is brutal.
There we go.
And
yeah.
And everybody's like, yo, the Knicks need to win tonight to show that they can beat the Pistons, even though it'll be without Beef Stew and Jalen Duren. I felt like whether they won or not, I don't think it would change how Detroit approaches them, because I feel like all the pressure now is on New York. It's not on Detroit. It's all on New York. And Detroit has nothing but absolute confidence versus the Knicks. Any lineup they put out there, they're good with. If you want to put Mitchell Robinson out there when he's healthy, yes, he's a great rebounder, good rim protector, but he's not an offensive threat at all. He's a zero-range player, no offensive game at all. So versus a team like Detroit, I think he would hurt you more than help you. I think he can be effective in spot duty. But to me, just watching this game, Brett, honestly, like I said, this has played out just like the other games. And it's not, nobody can say it's luck or it's an accident. If a team blows you out 3 times in a row, that's your relationship with them. They don't respect you. And I know the Knicks will say all the right things, like we don't care who we play in the playoffs, we're just trying to win a title and all that. They don't want to play the Pistons in the playoffs. They don't want that. If both teams are fully healthy, I think the Knicks are going home.
I completely forgot that he was on that AAU team with Banchero, Pritchard, and Flynn. Say Pistons were better in that playoff series, a lot inexperienced. The Knicks right now remind me of the depth that the Lob City Clippers had. So much talent and depth, but didn't accomplish much. Yes,
yo, that is a great comment. That is the comment of the night so far. That's dead on. That is 100% exactly what they are. You look at the Knicks top to bottom, they can go like 9 or 10 deep, and you recognize most of the names, and yet look at Detroit. you couldn't name most of the Pistons roster top to bottom, and the Knicks can't handle them at all. I think Detroit has more athleticism. They have more youth, energy, physicality. And even though I'm a huge Brunson fan, Cade will be the best player in that series.
No, that's fair enough. Lob City Clippers. I think the problem with the Lob City Clippers depth half the time was they were just old. Like they would get guys who were quality players that maybe they had a good year, but when I'm looking at your backup small forward, it's like I'm trotting out, Jared Dudley and guys like your backup four is Ryan Hollins. Like it's guys who are like solid vets, but as soon as you got to the end of the season, they just looked completely gassed once the playoffs started.
They did. I mean, I get what you're saying, but they did have a few teams where really were loaded. Like you're like,
oh, absolutely,
they have everything. And so that goes back to the conversation I started earlier about Chris Paul. Every time Chris Paul lost in the postseason, it wasn't because of injury. There was a couple times he lost because of injury, but most of those seasons with the Clippers where they couldn't get out of the second round, that wasn't about injury. That was just about that team and that core coming up short. Like, Brett, you and I talk about this one series, this one game in particular, all the time. We joke about it. The Clippers have the Rockets dead to rights. They're blowing them out. They've got a lead. James Harden is on the bench. This series, this game 7, it is a wrap. And here comes Josh Smith. Who else? It was nothing but reserves. And they blow the doors off the – this is what Chris Paul on the floor, DeAndre – all their guys. And they lost that game and that series. And James Harden didn't do anything.
Yeah, it's one of those things where Pistons are going on another run. Yeah, it's one of those things with the Clippers. They definitely had talent. I'm not trying to say that. I think half the time it just felt like on top of the core coming up short, it almost felt like also at the same time they just kept getting out-coached in every series.
That part I agree with. And so I get it. When you're a franchise like the Clippers that had minimum success at most, it's weird that the Lob City Clippers are like them. It's like their signature run. Because it was. That was the Clippers had never been that relevant over that long a stretch of time ever. And look, that's primarily because of Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, DeAndre, but Chris Paul was the engine. So this is in no way me not saying how great Chris Paul was. I guess what I'm pointing out is winning championships isn't easy. And
No.
it doesn't matter if you have a loaded squad. That doesn't mean by default y'all going to the finals. They don't play out that way. That's the beauty of sports. I remember one series they were playing the Grizzlies. This is your Grizzlies with Tony Allen and Zach Randolph and prime Mike Conley. And the Clippers were up 2-0. It looked like they were going to sweep. That's how dominant they were in those first 2 games. And the Grizzlies went on to win the last 4 games. They beat the Clippers in 6. And it was primarily because Mike Conley had a series of his life and he played Chris Paul even.
Yeah, no, that Clippers team, like I said, they definitely had the talent to win it all. I'll never deny that. They were a weird team. Like I said, it felt like sometimes the depth was old and got tired, and when they finally had the right teams to win it all, then they would just they'd blow leads to bench lineups and they'd get out coached in a lot of series. It was always like something slightly different. And it was always so entertaining to watch.
Is it this is like low-hanging fruit, but I guess some of that we can blame on Glenn?
Oh, absolutely. Oh my gosh, yeah. Let's say we all know he ain't making any good in-game adjustments. Said Knicks fans, I will sleep great tonight. Yeah, fair enough.
That's funny.
I
Yeah.
remember the most hilarious series to watch with Rivers was actually, I think it was like the last year he made the playoffs with the Clippers. I think it might have been the bubble or the year before that. But no, it was watching them get brutalized down low. I believe they were playing Denver. And watching them get brutalized down low and continuing to run Montrezl Harrell minutes, even though Montrez is getting murdered down low.
Oh, man.
Like, it was so confusing to watch. I'm like, dude, you got to run Zubac heavy minutes here. Like, you can't be doing this whole Trez gimmick. But he just kept running Trez. And it's like, well, yeah, you're getting blown out in the Montrezl Harrell minutes. Good job, Glenn, I guess.
Was that not you because you would know this better than me? Was that not the year Montrezl Harrell was 6th man of the year?
Yeah,
he had this amazing. Matter of fact, he had like 2 or 3 really amazing back to back. He was just terrific as a 6th man. But I thought that series, I'm glad you brought it up. That series exposed Montrezl Harrell's kryptonite, because the struggle was when he was on the floor. Most teams struggled to match up with him because most bigs couldn't keep up with him, because he was very quick and athletic for a big. But what Denver exposed real quick was he was a horrible defender. And even though he had really good footwork on offense, he did not slide them puppies on defense. Like I literally think that showing was the beginning of the end of Montrezl Harrell, because he came back the next season and then his role was diminished. And then the very next season, he wasn't on the same team. And Montrezl, I feel like he was out the league like within 2 or 3 years after that. Like, Montrezl Harrell's not an old man. Like, I mean, maybe now he's maybe in his early 30s or whatever, but his career, I mean, just gone that fast.
Yeah, and like those that's like high energy guys that didn't particularly defend really well and could only finish around the rim. Once the floor started to get space, those guys started to get like out of the league really quick. Another guy in that same mold, Kenneth Faried, the Manimal.
I'm glad you read my mind. This is why we do this show, ladies and gentlemen. My partner sometimes reads my mind. Exactly. Kenneth Faried was basically Montrezl Harrell before Montrezl Harrell. A good defender, but not but basically he was a power forward, but he was an undersized power forward. And he did not have small forward skills. Hardworking guy, but didn't have any range, could only really score in the restricted area. And the league shifted, Brett, and they ran him out the league. He didn't get old. They ran him out of the league before he was 30.
Oh, yeah. Isaiah Stewart
I never heard
is
that
a
name in a while.
version of both.
I think Beef Stew is a combination of them, but to Bickerstaff's credit, he plays him in really smart spot minutes, because he brings another level of athleticism and physicality to them. Yeah, look, I like that comparison. I do think if I took Isaiah Stewart, he's a mix of Montrezl Harrell and Kenneth Faried. I like that. That's a good call. I would just say that he's clearly, and I don't know him personally, he's clearly meaner than either of them. Like Montrezl, like Beef Stew walks around with a chip on his shoulders.
Beef Stew in that fight was against the Hornets was maybe the greatest thing I've ever seen in a fight. I have never seen somebody run off the bench like he did. The fact he didn't ice pack still on his knees. He didn't take his warm up off or anything. He just sprinted to Miles Bridges and started throwing haymakers. Now, though, I honestly, this Montrezl Harrell's one guy I personally didn't enjoy watching because of all the limitations. I'm I get it. He plays hard, but I don't know. I just don't like watching him. Anytime he'd frustrate me, I'd call him the Energizer dummy. Because I'd watch him blow so many rotations, in the most stupidest ways defensively. I'm like, God, this guy's so full of energy, but he's so dumb, and I don't get it. I said, I respect Trez. Shout out for the great career, but he was the one guy that I would just get so frustrated watching.
Somebody just pointed it out. Stewart is basically, I think Kyle's right. Stewart is their Charles Oakley. He is their enforcer. He's a tough guy, but I don't want people to think he's a stiff. Isaiah Stewart is very athletic for his size. and he is effective in the restricted area. He what I like about Isaiah Stewart is nobody has to tell Beef Stew his role. He knows his role in the Pistons.
Yeah, yeah. He say Nurkic did punk him last year. Nah, say where was it? Yeah, say Reed Dion said that earlier too.
I mean, yeah. I'm just saying.
Now, you know what's funny though? My first thought when I saw that fight and what Stewart did, my first thought too was, man, we are lucky that Ron Holland is not playing in this game because Ron would have been in there too. The Pistons draft a lot of guys that are really good and fun, really tough players that they're just ready to scrap. Like they try to almost draft toughness, and it shows itself when you get guys like Ron Holland's never back in. Ron Holland's always ready to throw hands. Like Beef Stew's always ready to at least try to do something. It seems.
I look. They draft a lot of tough-minded, hard-nosed guys that maybe weren't as highly sought coming out of college, and maybe that's why they love those types of guys because they play with chips on their shoulder. You're right. I would argue that if Holland was playing, he would have beat Beef Stew off the bench. Because Holland runs hot too. He runs hot too. Like you can tell. I said this one time watching him. Like if he could ever just control himself a little bit more, Ron Holland's going to make a couple of all defensive teams.
I was going to say those two would have been like the brothers of destruction. They'd double choke slamming Bridges through the announce table. By the way, I want to give a quick shout out to congratulations to Chelsea Gray for winning the 1v1 Unrivaled Ladies Tournament this year.
Oh, correct. Yeah, congrats. I actually watched that. I love the intensity of it, especially the game against, I think it was her and Paige Buckets. That was crazy.
Yeah, I'd say her and Kelsey Plum had that fun game that Kelsey was hot once. They called that foul on her to end it. Anthony Mason would have,
Mason was different. I give you that. He was different. And he was skilled and different. Like Anthony Mason could have played in today's NBA.
It was a great weekend for women's basketball. I love Unrivaled. The 1v1 tournament's always a blast. I woke up, by the way. You mentioned Anthony Mason, and that reminds me, I woke up and immediately had my day ruined. Because I wake up and you know what the first thing I see is?
What's that?
It is the anniversary of the Ray Allen trade for Gary Payton. I'm like,
oh,
I hate everybody for telling me that. Like, I tried so hard to forget that trade ever happened. And then, I wake up on Twitter, and the first thing I see, it's the anniversary. I'm like, I'm going to punch whoever posted this in the throat. Please delete this. I don't need it. I had somebody on the comment section, and somebody in the comment section was like, well, maybe in a couple of years, the, Drew for Dame trade might be worse than this. I'm like, I promise you it's not. Nothing, that is the worst trade in Bucks history. It's going to be challenging to top that one.
I think it is the worst trade. I know a lot of people would bring up, obviously, Dirk for Tractor Trailer, but I'm not going to call that the worst trade because they both came into the league as rookies, and even though people were aware of what Dirk's potential was, nobody knew what he was going to be. Nobody knew. Even at the time when you guys traded for Tractor Trailer, I was familiar with Tractor Trailer's name and his game. I didn't know as much about Dirk, so I think a lot of people were the same way. It ended up being a horrible trade, but I don't think any trade, when you actually know what you're dealing with, here's Ray Allen. He's just getting ready to go into his prime. Here is Gary Payton. He's actually just getting ready to come out of his prime, and you make that trade.
Yeah, you didn't know what Dirk could. You knew what he possibly could be, but he wasn't that when you traded him. So, And the Dame and Drew trade, like at the time, it made sense. And a lot of people picked the Bucks to be the favorite to come out of the East after it was made. The Bucks needed to fix their half-court offense. Go get Dame. It made sense. Like Ray Allen for Gary Payton just didn't make sense from the jump. Ray Allen was a guy who, by all measures, would have stayed in Milwaukee. He liked Milwaukee, but instead we got into a power struggle between him and George Karl. And Karl said, it's either me or him. And they picked George Karl. So if you're going to trade Ray Allen, you go, well, hey, let's get a good package for Ray Allen. No, we got past his prime Gary Payton, who was a free agent at the end of the year, played 18 games for us, and then just left. So we got 18 games of Gary Payton. And then George Karl leaves anyway.
Sure. George Karl's such a jerk.
I can't stand him for that. I can't stand him for that. Like, I will always be, I think I'll always be a George Karl hater just for that trade.
I don't remember who did the Bucks get when they traded Glenn Robinson, Big Dog.
Oh, the Kukoc and Leon Smith.
I think I would have kept Big Dog.
Yeah,
because that was Kukoc going into his journeyman role. The two of them combined isn't what Big Dog was. So I have to think that was more than about basketball. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe Glenn Robinson was kind of a knucklehead. I don't know. But you can't tell me getting Kukoc and Leon Wood for Big Dog is an equal trade.
Yeah, it wasn't a good. Well, we got a first round pick out of it too. I think that was the real, like, Kukoc in the first, and then, like I said, Leon Smith was just kind of there to make salaries work.
Okay,
but
gotcha.
It wasn't. There's a good video on, I think it was by Secret Base, about like the dismantling of like the early 2000s Bucks team after they pushed the Sixers into 7 games.
Yes, which they should have won that series.
Yeah, and it was just a lot of like just petty stuff. Like Anthony Mason comes in and he wants to change, like he doesn't like, us, a lot of our guys being jump shooters. Like it was just a lot of unnecessary like high school drama and backstage politics that kind of broke up that early iteration of the Bucks. But yeah, I absolutely recommend, if you're interested in that, Secret Base, I think it's Secret Base. They did a whole like thing on the early 2000s Bucks, and it goes into great detail. It's terrific.
I'm with you, Kyle. I was a big Glenn Robinson fan. Like people forget, Big Dog was nice. I'm not saying he was a great defender, but he was a bucket getter. He could shoot with range, had a post-up game, underrated athlete. I was so big on him, and I won't forget this. This is was it a playoff series? Yes, they're playing Orlando, and T-Mac makes it his mission to guard him. And he just shuts Big Dog down, and he starts calling him Puppy Dog for the rest of the series until the series was over. But yeah, I remember that. By the way, there's no shame in T-Mac outplaying you because T-Mac was a hell of a player before he got injured.
Here we go. Here you go, Mo. Jamal Mashburn or Glenn Robinson?
So I'll do it this way. Mashburn is a better all-around player, but if I'm looking for a small forward that can get me buckets consistently on a nightly basis, I'm going to go with Big Dog. Mashburn it's weird because he was a huge scorer in college. He got to the pros. I think he had a couple seasons where he dropped 19, but he wasn't really that big a scorer in the pros. He did a lot of things really well. And you can't say his career was a bust, but I don't think anybody thinks Mashburn had the kind of career that people projected him to have. If I had a choice between the two, I would take Glenn Robinson.
I'm more of a Big Dog guy myself. Obviously, I might be slightly biased by being a Bucks fan, but
right.
I think the big difference is like what you touched on. I think Glenn just did a lot of the little things better than Jamal Mashburn. I think Mashburn was like the better pure scorer between the two, but I think, Big Dog was more well-rounded. So, like, I personally am more of a Big Dog guy, but I also think that big dog just kind of complemented like a lot of the teams that the Bucks had. So like for my Bucks, like you know, when you already have scorers in like Ray Allen, like you know, Glenn Robinson could slide in and be your number 2 scorer occasionally and
Right.
do a lot of the little things well.
But that's why it's so frustrating. I probably will look up that is it a documentary or is it just somebody that put together something about how they broke up the 2000 Bucks? Because to me, that team, you keep Ray Allen, and yeah, you might change some of the guys around him, but there was a time when Ray Allen was good enough to be the best player on a title contender. Do you know what I mean? Like that people forget that. I know they if you came late to the dance, you remember the guy that was a catch and shoot guy with the Celtics. That wasn't Ray Allen. Ray Allen used to break people down off the dribble and dunk on people's heads. He wasn't just a jump shooter. And I would have built around Ray Allen. If him and Glenn Robinson weren't getting along or there was something wrong with the chemistry, I'm keeping Ray. I'll move anybody else, but I'm keeping Ray.
Yeah, if you literally just go on like YouTube and type in secret base Bucks, you'll get the it'll pull up the video for you. It's like how the Bucks scrapped contender and then refuses to rebuild. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's like I said, secret base has just a lot of great like guys covering. UConn Ray Allen was different.
Yeah, facts. Man, I remember those battles between Ray Allen and AI. Like the I feel like sometimes college basketball lacks that same intensity.
No, absolutely. Yeah, so that does it. The Pistons win comfortably, 126-111. The game really, the Knicks had their chances. They cut the lead down to 2 at one point, but it really feel like the nexus, like turning point of this game, Mo, was that missed lob.
Yeah,
like
big play.
They mess up on the alley-oop. They don't convert the point-blank look. Duncan Robinson hits a 3 at the other end, and they never got close again after that.
And again, and I know I sound like I'm on repeat, they just wear the Knicks down. They just ground them out. And I think Kyle mentioned it in the chat, and Kyle's right. The Pistons are too athletic for the Knicks. They are. They just wear them down with their athleticism and their depth and their physicality. And I can't just say, well, the Knicks got to play harder. Like, I think the Knicks play hard. I just think that the Pistons are a terrible matchup for them.
No, absolutely. But that's what we had for you today. Like I said, if you want more and one content, you can check us out on Wire to Wire Podcast Network, or like I said, we did make a Discord for the And One Podcast and Meaty Boys Podcast. So, like I said, if anybody ever wants the link, you can always I can always post that. So, let's say we definitely appreciate all you guys. Anything you want to add before we get on out of here, Mo?
No, I love the chat, love the energy that we got tonight from you guys. You guys brought up a lot of old school names, great questions. The back and forth is always top level. So, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Like I said, thank you for tuning in, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your night.